Good morning. My name is Ralf Friedrichs. I'm an author, an addiction recovery coach, a life coach, and a host of this show, the Take Your Life Back Today radio show. You can also see the video version on YouTube if you go to search bar and type in Take Your Life Back Today show. Folks, let's talk about doing things now. Procrastination is so easy to justify. The other day I spilled something on the carpet, so I went and found some stain remover. The directions said I needed to get to that spot as quickly as possible, and not to let it dry or soak in, but that I should put the solution on it immediately. In other words, the quicker I dealt with that particular spot, the easier it would be to remove. And that's how life has to be. It's the same way in our lives, in our daily lives. When God brings something to light, revealing an area that we need to change or something that we need to make right, friends, that's when we need to take action. Not next week when we feel like it, or next month when our circumstances are better. No, now is the time. We need to do it immediately. Procrastination, putting off till later what we ought to be doing now, is so easy to justify for so many people. We think, one day I'm going to do that, so I'm not really being disobedient. We say, someday I'm going to get serious about my relationship with God, but not now. It's not the time. Or one day I'm going to get back in shape. One day I'm going to get my finances in order, or sometime soon I'm going to forgive that person that hurt me. Unfortunately, for many people, one day never comes. I've discovered that if the enemy can't get us to be disobedient, his next plan is to attack, is to deceive us into putting off what we know we should do. God, I'm planning to do it, just not right now. I'm planning to tithe, to give 10% of my income to the church as soon as my finances get better. I'm planning to serve in the children's ministry as soon as the work schedule slows down at my office. We're saying, I have good intentions. I'm planning to be obedient, so that's not so bad. But good intentions don't equal obedience. And really, delayed obedience is disobedience. When God speaks to your heart about changing your attitude or apologizing to that loved one or treating somebody better, yet you keep putting it off, that will destroy your joy and keep you from God's best. Rather than being a procrastinator, be a now person. Start doing what God has put in your heart right now today. Don't merely intend to be obedient promptly. Obey now. Maybe you go to bed with a guilty conscience because you are putting off what you know you should be doing today. Procrastination makes us feel badly about ourselves. It condemns us. You walk in the house and see the dirty laundry room that you've been meaning to clean for 2 months, or you've got a sink full of dishes, or your garage is a mess. You think to yourself, what is wrong with me? I'm never going to get this place cleaned up. I'm so lazy. I might as well go in and sit down and watch some more TV and let it go. That's a negative cycle, and it will continue unless you put your foot down and say, I'm going to get my house in order. I'm going to make some changes today. No more procrastinating for me starting today. Perhaps God has been dealing with you about getting out of debt, about controlling your spending, and not being so quick to use those credit cards. You say, yes, one day I'll get my spending in order, but let me run to the mall one more time and use my cards. Or can I hear you say, Ralph, you hit the nail on the head. I've got to do something with my finances now. I know I need to balance my checkbook. So, in the next month, or two, I'm going to sit down and do it. No, don't put it off any longer. The longer we put things off, the harder they are to do later. Do it now. The scripture teaches, if you know the right thing to do, but you're not doing it, then that, my friends, is a sin. You might be saying, Ralph, do you mean it's a sin for me to spend too much money? If you know in your heart that something is not right for you, and you go against your conscience, that's disobedience. You'll not have God's blessings on those activities. The Bible says whatever is not from faith is sin. In other words, if you can't engage in an activity with confidence that you are pleasing God, for you that activity is out of line. It's out of line with His plan. Are you putting off living a healthier life? Maybe you know you need to get an exercise program and get in shape. We all are lazy when it comes to that. You may be thinking, Ralph, that's right. That's me. And sure enough, I'm going to do it. I know I eat too much junk food. I drink too many sodas. And yes, I'm going to make changes, but some other time. I'm going to start this summer, Ralph, as soon as the kids get out of school. No, that's delayed obedience. That's not God's best. Start today. Do it now. Or maybe there is a person that you need to forgive. God has been dealing with you about it day after day, but you think, I can't do that. They hurt me too badly. What they did wasn't right. It wasn't fair. The longer you put it off, the more difficult it's going to be later. On the other hand, if you will take the first step of faith and release any bitterness or resentment, you'll be amazed at how joy overflows in your life. You may be asking, Ralph, how do I know when it's really God's timing? It's a simple answer. It is God's timing when He is dealing with you about a matter. Maybe it's something you've been neglecting, an area that you need to change, something you've been putting off time after time. Be willing to do something about it today. Stop putting off the apologies you need to make. Stop putting off the little jobs around the home and the office that need to be done. Friends, don't procrastinate when it comes to your health and taking care of your body that God has given you to be in. I have a friend with whom I used to play soccer. Something down inside kept saying to him, go get a checkup. He was as healthy as could be, didn't have a problem in the world, and life was good to him. Month after month, he kept putting off scheduling a doctor's appointment. But he would go to bed at night feeling condemned because he knew down inside that he should go and get a checkup. One day, his health started to get worse. His weight plummeted, and we didn't see him at the gym for some time. When he finally returned, we learned he had been diagnosed with a serious illness. He said, Ralph, when I went to see the doctor, the first thing the doctor said was, I wish you had gotten here several years ago. We would have had so much better of a chance to deal with this particular illness. You see, my friends, my friend knew in his heart what he should do. He just chose not to do it. When we know what's right, but we just keep putting it off, we risk missing God's best. Do you understand? I know God can take care of us, but I also know that God expects us to do our part as well in life. You might be saying, I'm a young man, maybe a young woman, and I consider myself extremely healthy. But every 2 years, I go to the doctor and I have a full physical. That's what you might be saying, but try to do it every year. I don't know. I don't do it just for myself. If when I go, I do it for my wife and I do it for my children and grandchildren, and I understand I don't like doing it. There are 1,000 things I'd rather be doing, but when I don't do it, there's an unrest up inside me. You might be saying, Ralph, I thought you were a man of faith. I hear somebody saying, I thought you believed in healing. Yes, I believe in healing, but I also believe that we'll take care of ourselves. We may not need to be healed. And when we do that, and I would rather live a healthy lifestyle than have to be healed all the time. Quit putting off what you know in your heart is the right thing to do. You may be putting off spending time with your family. So you're busy, you work all the time. Your attitude is, one day I'm going to slow down and enjoy these children that God has given me. Or one day I'm going to take that trip to visit my parents who are getting up in age. One day I'm going to call that loved one that I've been thinking about over and over. No. Take time right now, today, for the people you love. You don't really know how long they're going to be here. A man approached me in the store some time back. He was in his early 50s, and he was sobbing. His parents had done something that had offended him. And for several years, he wouldn't have anything to do with them. He was holding on to bitterness and resentment. He knew he should have let it go, forgive them, and overlook their faults. But he wouldn't do it. He was hard-headed, and his attitude was, one day I'll make things right. But right now, I'm going to show them. Unfortunately, one day never came. His father had a massive stroke, and instantly he was gone. The son was living with guilt and with shame. If he had to do it again, he wouldn't have put off things, making things right with his parents. When people do us wrong, my friends, God expects us to let the offenses go. Life is too short to hold a grudge. Stop putting off forgiving the people that have done you wrong. Friends, and stop putting off spending time with people that you love. So often we take people for granted. I'm going to go see my parents when my kids get through with their baseball season, or maybe perhaps when I get a little bit more money. But if you wait for all the conditions to be just right, you'll never get off dead center. There will never be a perfect time to do what God has put in your heart. You've got to make a decision that you are going to do it today and stop procrastinating. Don't miss opportunities to be good to people. For instance, maybe God is prompting you to give somebody some money. Don't overanalyze it. Well, God, I think I need the money more than they do. Is this really you, God? I better pray about this for a couple of weeks. No, that's an excuse for not doing what you know God is telling you to do. Many times, many times, somebody's name comes to mind, and I know I should call them and encourage them. I feel so strongly about it, but I'm in the middle of perhaps watching the ball game. I even say, God, I'm going to do it later. I'll call them tomorrow, or maybe I'll invite them out to eat next week. My intentions are good, but my actions are not. Other things take priority in my life, and I don't want to miss out on them. But sowing that seed is a blessing today. I've learned that when a person comes in mind, I need to respond immediately. If I can't get them on the phone, I'll leave them a message, and hopefully they'll call me. Folks, stop procrastinating. Call me at 844-405-HELP. Together we can help each other take our lives back. Be good to yourselves, and always be good to each other. Simple smile to a total stranger will help that stranger's life, and it'll change your life. God is calling you to do things immediately when they come to mind. Take good care, and may God bless each and every one of you. Bye-bye now.